Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. I hope you guys are having a fabulous weekend. We have a lot to cover in here. Looks like Martha Stewart has finally broke cover, and possibly Harry's cheating. Wouldn't blame him if he was, but there's a lot in here, so let's jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with the absolutely fabulous Princess Anne. This past Tuesday, she visited Mornflake Oats because they are having their 350th anniversary. Princess Anne opened the new Oat Milling Center of Excellence. After that, she visited H.J. Leek Oaks. They process the byproduct from morning flake into animal feed to help reduce waste. Next up, we have the fabulous Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He went to visit the Wales Millennium Centre. This took place July 23rd. Now, this is a national arts centre for Wales, and it supports artists, young people, and communities. A guided tour was provided for Edward with Chief Executive Matthew Milsom. He saw a performance from the National Dance Company Wales, which was followed by a meeting with Hijinks Theatre Group, who spoke to Edward about the work that the organization does for actors with learning disabilities and autism. Edward then watched performances from the talented Welsh National Opera and BBC National Orchestra of Wales. There was a lot of discussion about the efforts at the center and insight into the charity work around youth engagement. Then there was an exhibition of artwork from Platform and a poetry recital. And then Edward talked to the charity Two Rhythms, and they discussed the work they do as an accessible art charity. They provide educational and therapeutic programs for people with profound physical and learning disabilities. Well, good for Edward, and he's looking a little bit more healthier to me. You guys know exactly what I mean. All right, let's move on. Let's move on now to Edward's fabulous wife, Secret Weapon Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. Don't forget, she is Colonel-in-Chief of the Corps of Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. She visited two of their battalions at their headquarters at Tidworth, Wiltshire. They are celebrating their 25th anniversary. So, of course, Sophie inspected personnel from 4 Armored Close Support Battalion, Ream, and she also addressed the parade. Love it. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce as usual. And I love the correction. He got the earring wrong, but that's okay because he fixed it. All right, let's move on. All right, I'm going to touch on this. Andrew, they're saying, can finally breathe a sigh of relief because after years of digging in his heels and refusing to leave his house, he apparently won the Royal Lodge. That's what they're saying. They're saying Andrew is all smiles because he found out that Charles has given up trying to evict him. Now, we all know that Charles has been trying to get Andrew to move to Frogmore, which is newly renovated and it's an easier upkeep. But of course, Andrew doesn't want to go. Now, we know also that Andrew has a lease for 75 years, but part of the lease was that he had to keep up the property and he hasn't been able to. Priceless items were removed from this house by King Charles over maintenance and security issues. We also know, in case you don't know, that Andrew has been living off a hefty allowance from the king's personal wealth for more than 6 years. His list of expenses are $4 million worth of personal security per year, as well as the regular cash allowance, which Charles stopped providing the allowance and the security in October 2024. And that's why Andrew was ordered out of the 31-room property into Frogmore Cottage, but he refused. So it's previously been reported that Charles tried everything to downsize Andrew so the Royal Lodge would be freed up for William and Catherine, as well as their children. The problem is the property is falling apart. It needs so much work. It's got mold. It's got mildew. It's terrible. Personally, I don't think William and Catherine would ever want to live there. That's just my opinion. Listen, if Andrew wants to live in a mold-infested house, just leave him there. All right, let's move on. All right, talking about houses, here we have another puff piece. How Harry and Meghan were so sad to leave Frogmore Cottage. Let me just remind you guys, this house is in Windsor. It was formerly made up of 5 separate apartments for those that worked on the estate, but it was converted into one 5-bedroom home in 2019. Harry and Meghan, when they stepped back, were asked to repay the £2.4 million that the sovereign grant was used to, renovate the house, and they paid it back. We found out later on that when they paid that back, they were not paying rent. They had a lease on the property, and when the lease ran out, it was not renewed, and Harry and Meghan were asked to vacate. Now remember, they stepped back as working royals in 2020. They stepped out of Frogmore in June of 2023. And I think after they vacated Frogmore, they went back like twice. So the house was sitting empty, but they could say, oh yes, we have an abode in the UK. We have Frogmore. But they were asked to step out after what they did. And can you really blame Charles for asking them to leave? And don't forget, Harry started up with but don't you ever want to see your grandchildren? That kind of stuff doesn't work when you don't let your father have a relationship with your children. It was a fake threat, and everybody knew it, and it didn't work. I also have to say, it did not escape my notice that while they were there and packing up, they brought a professional photographer to toddle after them and take pictures of them to be used in the Netflix docuseries, just like they took the pictures in the kitchen that I just showed you during the Platinum Jubilee and during their last events. I mean, they even took a photographer into Buckingham Palace and took pictures in areas that were restricted after they were told no. This is why Charles wants nothing to do with them. Can you really blame him? They did not respect the Queen or her orders. They're certainly not going to respect Charles. All right, now next up, one of my subscribers, Ed, sent me this information, which I thought was really cool. Come to find out that because Meghan keeps upgrading her engagement ring, the original ring was a historical piece of history, but because she keeps changing the design and changing the stones and adding things, it no longer is the ring that Harry gave her. I agree. Moving on. When you look back on Netflix and what they got for their money, you had Pearl, that animated series, which was a copy from somebody else, which was dropped by Netflix. You had Polo. It did not attract an audience. Live to Lead was somebody else's project, and basically Harry and Meghan just slapped their name on it. You had With Love Meghan, which didn't even make it into the top, whatever. So is it anybody surprised that Netflix, they're saying, barely blinked when they ended the contract? They're saying that the bosses at Netflix said it would not be a big impact on the streaming giant because basically their shows were not good. And Meghan, they're saying, is literally desperate to get something. Now, they are doing the second season of With Love Meghan, simply because it's already been taped. But what they're saying is she needs a show. She needs a winner. Do I think she's going to be able to come up with one? No. It's being said that Meghan is going to keep her deal, that it's Harry who's going to miss out. But I got to be honest, I don't believe that. And I'm saying that because in my opinion, Harry has always been the draw. It's Harry they wanted. Meghan was just taking over because Meghan wants to be a star. But that's not, in my opinion, why they're keeping Meghan. The reason they're keeping Meghan is because Netflix is a partner in As Ever. They can't just cut ties with her. They are an equity partner in her online shop. And we know that they're trying to sell products, the flower sprinkles and the teas. And the problem is being a partner in that brand makes the future relationship between Netflix and Meghan complicated. By the way, that includes the alcohol as well. So it's complicated because if With Love Meghan doesn't run, it's that show that helps to promote the brand. And if they end the series, that's going to result in less publicity for Meghan's products or their products. So Netflix is not commenting on the rumors. Harry and Meghan are not commenting on the rumors. But obviously it's being reported Meghan wants to continue and have a third season as soon as the second, I'm air quoting here, as soon as the second season airs, either this month or next month. So for good or for bad, Meghan Markle has shackled herself to Netflix, or the way you want to look at it, Netflix has shackled themselves to Meghan Markle. Now, the Obamas also moved from an exclusive deal to a first look deal, and Netflix issued press releases and made a big fuss about it. But notice that's not going on with Harry and Meghan. They're not acknowledging it at all. And that makes me think that this is not a good thing for Harry and Meghan. Now, as far as Meghan's As Ever goes, we've done multiple videos where it looks like Meghan copied Pamela Anderson to a T. Every picture, everything Pamela did, Meghan copied. We also know that Meghan took Martha Stewart's pasta recipe literally right off the pages. She didn't change a thing, and she put it out, and everybody knows about it. Now, Martha Stewart has refused to speak about Meghan Markle in the past. When her jams came out, somebody asked, Martha, what do you think? And Martha shut it down and said, I'm not going there. She didn't seem very impressed. Well, she gave an interview. Oh, listen to what she said. Listen to this.
What is it like to watch other celebrities, Gwyneth Paltrow, Meghan Markle, going in your footsteps and following something that you've really started?
I don't mind. Good luck. And Gwyneth's been very successful, by the way. I think she's created quite an interesting body of businesses. She's admired. She's she won an Oscar, for heaven's sake, as an actress. She's pretty powerful. Meghan, I don't really know very well, and I hope she knows what she's talking about. Authenticity to me is everything, and to be authentic and knowledgeable about your subject matter is extremely important.
Now, I have to be honest. I think she was throwing a little bit of shade at Meghan Markle, pointing out how well Gwyneth did, and basically telling Meghan she better be authentic, which we know is Meghan's buzzword. Authentic, authenticity, blah, blah, blah. And let's not forget that Gwyneth Paltrow is the one who made the joke. I've never met Meghan. She seems lovely. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get through their security detail and bring them a pie. By the way, I believe it was WME who got them together to poke fun at that, rumored feud that they were having. But notice you haven't seen them together since then, and you haven't heard a word. All right, let's move on. Okay, let's move on now. This could be true. There's been a lot of talk that there was a blurry photo uploaded. It was from Angola. No caption, no watermark. It was just a candid shot of Harry relaxing, drink in hand, leaning towards an unidentified woman with long hair. And then the picture disappeared, and this is not the picture you're looking at. I don't have a copy of that particular photo, but this apparently happened when Harry was supposed to be in Botswana and nobody could reach him. So what happens? Meghan starts putting out these pictures of the wine to get the eyes shifted back to her from Harry. Within an hour, by the way, they shut the comments off on the pictures because everybody was talking about Harry. And then supposedly another picture showed up of Harry, drinks in hand, bodies turned inward, no touching, but it wasn't casual either. But apparently that picture also got buried. I'm unable to find it. So the question is, what's going on? Well, this person that you see above on Twitter got a picture of Harry walking, it looks like in a garden, holding somebody's hand. And supposedly this is taking place in Angola, but this woman is blonde, not brunette. That does look like Harry's gray suit that we've seen him in a gazillion times. Molly's mama on Twitter actually blew the picture up to see if it was Harry. I do think that is Harry, I gotta be honest. A blind item did come out saying that Harry was seeing people overseas while he was in Angola. So who knows who that is? Maybe it's a different woman. Now we're going to finish up with some memes that some other people made. They're videos. They're really good. Unfortunately, I had to change the music because, copyright infringement. But I hope you guys watch these and enjoy. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.